So on my page, you're probably used to seeing walkthroughs of campers, showing the features and benefits and all the cool things that you can have if you're to purchase one of our respective campers. But one thing that I think that's missed on many videos of RVs is the reason why people camp, and that's because of the memories that you're able to make. So what I've set out to do is to reach out and find interesting stories of people when they camp. So if you have an interesting story that you'd like shared, share it in the comments or put your email down there and I'll reach out and we'll see if we can create something that is affecting and cool for listeners and watchers. This story is called The Last Cast. The RV, it was an impulse buy. That's what the son told himself, and that's what his father claimed, though anyone who knew the man well enough could tell it had been a slow brewing plan. The kind of plan that starts during lonely winters with YouTube rabbit holes and quietly bookmarked floor plans, the kind that simmers beneath the surface until pandemic throws gasoline on the flames. The two used to tent camp back when the son was 8 and thought firewood came from a gas station and bacon tasted better when it was burned. Back before life had unfolded in a way that made men out of boys and strangers out of men. There had been a stench, 20 years, maybe more, where the only camps they set up around were FaceTime calls or rushed airport visits. Both of them complicit in the distance, but too proud to name it. Then the old man, he bought a travel trailer, a real living, with slide-outs and solar panels. "We're hitting the road, buddy," he texted one night in April, as they were still in on the same old joke. State parks, fly rods, trout, just like the old times. The son didn't answer. Not right away. He'd seen enough Instagram reels to know how these things played out. Guilt trips dressed up like getaways. Men trying to outrun regret in vehicles they couldn't quite park straight. It wasn't until July that he finally gave in. "All right, a short trip," he said, "just 2 nights." "Bring boots and your rod," Dad replied. "We're going to Starved Rock." The drive started as you'd expect. Dad had a clipboard of tasks. Check the tire pressure. Load the cooler. Check the brake lights. The son, thumbing through emails on his phone, nodded along without ever really looking. When the RVs were finally ready, it felt less like an adventure and more like an obligation. "Are the lights working?" his dad shouted from behind the wheel. Brake pedal pressed. "Yeah," the son mumbled without even glancing up. It took them 5 hours to get to the park. The road wound through soybean fields and corn tall enough to make the skyline irrelevant. Somewhere along the way, the silence began to feel like tradition. Dad tapped the wheel, humming old Creedence Clearwater songs. The son answered a work call, murmuring buzzwords like alignment and actionable. When they backed into the site, uneven but shaded, the dad exhaled, like he'd been holding his breath since 2020. "We'll fish in the morning," he said. "The cooler's packed. I got those potatoes that you like, too." The night was quiet, stars like sugar on black velvet, a fire that cracked more than they talked. The next morning, they hiked down to the river, rods in hand. Fly fishing had always been their thing, graceful, hypnotic, a kind of communion in waders. The dad cast smooth and slow. The son, rusty, he found his rhythm eventually. They didn't say much, just pointed at riffles and rises. They caught small ones, let them go, just enough action to pretend the day mattered. Then it happened. A hit, hard. The son's rod bent like it had in ears. "Dad!" he said. Voice rising, something childlike crackling through. "Hold it up, don't horse it, let him run." The line zipped through water like a live wire. The fish drove, surfaced, spun like a drunk ballerina. The son held on, arms shaking. The dad dropped his own rod, boots splashing in the shallows, grabbed the net like they were back in 1996. "Back it up, bring it to the right, easy." They look ridiculous. 2 grown men hollering at fish, slipping on moss, grinning like idiots. And then, against all odds, they landed it. A rainbow. Heavy, magnificent. Something like it had been carved out of the river itself. They stared down at the net, breathing hard, water dripping from their sleeves. "Damn," the dad whispered. "It's a hell of a fish." The son nodded. "Yeah, it is." They ate it that night, too. Filleted, salted, and cooked skin on over flame. Potatoes roasted in foil like they used to. The son peeled one open and steam hit his face. The air smelled of smoke and butter and pine needles. "Hey, man, thanks for coming," Dad said. "I know you got a lot of stuff going on." The son shrugged. The dad poked the fire. I know I should have tried harder. I've let things drift, and that's on me. The son stared into the flames, eyes glassy but not wet. I didn't exactly reach out either. They sat in the glow of the fire, the crackle like punctuation between memories neither had shared out loud. You know, the son said, that fish, that felt good. The dad smiled, like old times. Maybe better. They put the fire out together. The son doused it while the dad stirred ash like it was a ritual. Before they climbed into the RV, the dad paused outside. The stars were still out, still sugar, still velvet. He looked up at them, hands in his pockets, then back at the camper where his grown son was already settling into the fold-out. The long breath. The small smile. Thank you, he whispered to no one in particular, and went inside. If you'd enjoyed this story, share a comment. And again, if you have an interesting story that you'd like to share, leave your email address or leave your story in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks for spending the time listening to this, and hopefully you have a great camping experience somewhere along the way. Thanks.